Oleg Petrovich Belov, born November 20, 1963 in Gorokhovets, Vladimir region, found guilty of the mass murder of his own family, 6 children, a pregnant spouse, the murder of his mother and the threat of violence against a government official. According to Belov himself, even in early childhood he had extraordinary abilities in mathematics and physics. His parents hoped that Oleg would become an academician. According to the testimony given by Belov at the trial in the case of mass murder, he easily entered Moscow universities, including MEPHI. As a schoolboy, Belov saw in a dream a detailed structure of a flying saucer. Since early childhood, he dreamed of constructing this device and going to another planet. As Belov said, he had a program scheduled for 300 years. In 1992, he was baptized in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. However, he was subsequently expelled from the community for cheating on his wife. In 2009, he moved to Nizhny Novgorod for permanent residence. Recently, he lived in the Nizhny Novgorod district of Nizhny Novgorod with his wife and 6 children. At the same time, the spouse, Yulia Belova, was pregnant. Both spouses did not work. The deceased Yulia received a pregnancy allowance, and Oleg Belov received a disability pension. There were constant quarrels in the family. Oleg repeatedly beat his wife and children, threatened. In 2010, Belov even hit his wife on the head with the butt of an axe. In the local administration, the family was registered as dysfunctional and unsecured. Since 2013, the family was monitored by the Commission on Juvenile Affairs. At the end of July 2015, according to the testimony of a neighbor, there was a quarrel in the Belov family.
Hey, I'm not going to beat around the bush. You have to subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss new videos.
Screams were heard, and calls for help, but the neighbor did not call the police. Subsequently, it was established that Belov hit his wife with his fist as a result of a domestic conflict that arose because, in his opinion, the younger son's haircut was incorrect. Earlier, June 15, 2015, Yulia Belova wrote a statement of claim and reflected in it that her husband systematically beat her and the children. On Monday, July 27, 2015, Oleg Belov came to the kindergarten, where his wife usually brought the children, and said that the family had left for the village. In the future, so as not to arouse suspicion, Belov even went to the dairy kitchen, where he took milk coupons for younger children. However, a week later, Belova's mother-in-law went to the police, as she could not contact her daughter for a long time and did not believe in excuses from her son-in-law about the family's departure to the village. Arrived at home address, the police squad found the remains of 6 children and a spouse packed in 19 plastic bags in the apartment. The whereabouts of the father and husband of the victims at that time was unknown. Law enforcement agencies immediately organized investigative measures to establish the location of the criminal, and on the same day, at the dacha. In the city of Gorokhovets, Vladimir region, the body of Belov's mother was found buried in the ground with multiple wounds. Oleg Belov was put on the federal wanted list. On the night of August 5, 2015, Belov was discovered by employees of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Russia in a house in one of the suburban areas of the city of Kovrov in the Vladimir region. According to the investigation, the maniac intended to kill his mother-in-law, Valentina Zaitseva, and set up an ambush waiting for her return. However, she was in Nizhny Novgorod at that moment, which Oleg Belov did not know about. He had a knife with him. From the words of the criminal himself, it followed that he committed the murder of his mother due to the fact that her housemates would simply throw stones at her after the news about the murder of her wife and children by her son. He decided to kill her and bury her. According to investigator Dmitry Khan, Oleg Belov, when checking his testimony on the spot, reported that he called his mother under a false pretext, pick raspberries on a nearby plot of land. Then he collected his thoughts for a long time and even prayed to God before attacking. And having decided, with the words, "God help me kill my mom," he stabbed her multiple times. During the arrest, Belov, with a knife in his hands, began to make death threats against police officers, and even made an attack towards one of the employees of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but in The answer was wounded from a firearm in the stomach, after which he was taken into custody and hospitalized. Already on August 10, doctors reported that the operation was successful and Belov's condition improved. The bullet did not touch a single vital organ. Belov very quickly went on the mend. The deceased, 6 children of Oleg Belov and his wife, were buried in September 2015 at the Troitsko-Nikolsky Cemetery in Kovrov. Yulia's mother, Valentina Zaitseva, was undergoing rehabilitation after suffering a heart attack. On August 6, 2015, Oleg Belov was arrested during a closed on-site court session held at Hospital No. 35 in Nizhny Novgorod, where the accused was transported for further hospitalization after being wounded. Initially, Belov was charged with committing crimes. On August 12, the court decided to transfer Oleg Belov from the hospital to a pretrial detention center. In addition, it turned out that Oleg Belov was registered in the psychoneurological dispensary of Vladimir, had previously been prosecuted for beating a girl, but was released from punishments due to mental illness. In the early 2000s, he left for Nizhny Novgorod for permanent residence, without informing local medical institutions about his mental illness and previous psychiatric registration. Oleg Belov at first denied guilt in the crime committed, but during the interrogation conducted by the head of the investigation team, Kon Dmitry, could not restrain himself, burst into tears and repented of killing all the members of his family. The murder was preceded by a long-term conflict in the family, the spouse's intentions to end the marriage. The spark in this conflict was a domestic quarrel over the wrong haircut of his son. In August 2015, Belov, during the verification of his testimony on the spot, he demonstrated to the investigation exactly how he killed each of his family members. According to the investigation, Belov used a knife previously donated by his wife for the murder, and then wrapped the bodies in rags and placed them in garbage bags. In the future, Belov planned to bury the bodies of relatives in the Semenovsky district of the Nizhny Novgorod region, where Belov's mother-in-law had an abandoned house in one of the villages. The plans of the maniac were violated by a call received from the employees of the Kovrov police department of the Vladimir region, who, at the request of Valentina Zaitseva, were looking for her daughter. Realizing that he would soon be discovered, the criminal decided to take the life of his own mother, who lives in Gorokovets, Vladimir region. When checking the testimony on the spot, investigator Dmitry Kon asked the arrested Belov, "What thoughts did you have in your head immediately before? How did you kill your own mother?" To which Oleg Belov replied, "I prayed to the Lord that he would give me the strength to kill her." Belov explained the murder of his mother by the fear of shame, which the mother would not have survived. The neighbors would just throw stones at mom if they found out what I did to my family. In October 2015, the investigator for particularly important cases of the 3rd Main Investigative Department of the Investigative Committee of Russia with a deployment in Nizhny Novgorod, Lieutenant Colonel of Justice Dmitry, completed all investigative actions in the Belov case. The results of the forensic psychiatric examination conducted at the Scientific Center of Social and Forensic Psychiatry named after V.P. Serbsky also became known. According to the conclusions of the examination, Belov suffered from mental disorder. However, this disease did not exclude his sanity at the time of the commission of crimes. That is, the accused, although suffering from a mental illness, but, taking into account remission, he was aware of the actual nature and social danger of his actions. According to the expert's decision, Belov is subject to criminal liability, but will have to undergo compulsory treatment for schizophrenia at the place of serving his sentence. According to the investigation, Oleg Belov led a quiet lifestyle in the pretrial detention center, practiced yoga, ate with an appetite and went out for walks with pleasure. In November 2015, the investigative authorities sent the materials of the criminal case against Oleg Belov to the court. On December 9, 2015, the Nizhny Novgorod Regional Court extended Oleg Belov's sentence in jail for 6 months. At the same time, the accused filed a motion for transfer to house arrest or on his own recognizance not to leave, but he was refused. The prosecutor opposed the change of the preventive measure. In addition, Oleg Belov planned to petition the court to hold court sessions in closed mode. The trial of Oleg Belov began on December 16, 2015. In his speech, the defendant admitted his guilt and asked for forgiveness from Valentina Zaitseva's mother-in-law. According to him, he repents of what he did and does not believe in what happened. During the trial, Belov petitioned for the opportunity to work in the forex market to earn 200 million rubles. The request was rejected by the court. On May 19, during the court hearing, Oleg Belov refused to confess, declaring his innocence. According to the defendant, he was forced to stipulate himself because of the threats. In addition, Belov complained that the lawyer improperly protects him, and also repeatedly suggested not to argue with anyone in court and repent. Refusing to plead guilty, the defendant suggested that many people could have wished for the death of his wife and children, in connection with her regular complaints to various authorities against the authorities. On June 29, 2016, the Nizhny Novgorod Regional Court found Oleg Belov guilty of murdering 8 people and threatening to use violence against a government official, and sentenced him to life imprisonment in a special regime penal colony. Due to the fact that Belov suffers from a mental disorder, he will undergo compulsory treatment by a psychiatrist at the place of serving his sentence. Other than that, the court ordered the criminal to pay the mother-in-law Valentina Zaitseva, who acted as the victim in this case, compensation for moral damage in the amount of 5 million rubles. At the same time, investigator Dmitry Khan initiated a criminal case against the head of the Department of Internal Affairs of the Nizhny Novgorod Police District Alexander Volchak, his deputy Vyacheslav Nikitin, the head of the division, Victor Miller, and the district commissioners, Vladimir Filimonov and Dmitry Oblivin. According to the investigation, the police officers did not respond to the appeals of Belov's wife about her husband's hooliganism, beating family members, and death threats. So, according to the rejected materials seized by the investigation, Yulia Belova repeatedly complained to the police about regular scandals and beatings of her husband. And just a month before the murder, Yulia filed a statement to the police, in which she indicated that Oleg Belov was beating her, threatening to kill her, and throw her body in the trash. However, the police officers did not take any appropriate measures on these appeals. On August 8, 2015, the court granted the investigation's request for the arrest of Victor Miller. The investigators found that being the immediate superior of the district police officer Vladimir Filimonov, for times he coordinated the decisions on the refusal to initiate criminal proceedings, which he made according to the statements of Oleg Belov's wife. The district commissioners Dmitry Oblivin and Vladimir Filimonov were forced to be under house arrest at the time of the trial. According to media reports, due to the initiation of a criminal case against police officers, in protest, 9 district commissioners in Nizhny Novgorod submitted resignation reports. One of the reasons for their decision, they called the fear of a chain reaction. In June 2018, 2 district commissioners Dmitry Oblivin and Vladimir Filimonov were found guilty by the court of committing a crime under Part 3 of Article 293 of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation, namely, negligent attitude to their service, which entailed particularly grave consequences in the form of the death of members of the Belov family and received 2 years probation.